How can individuals and families overcome financial barriers or challenges when trying to build generational wealth? Maybe speak to some of the typical habits, cultural, racial, and different things like that that can maybe be looked at, adjusted, or whatnot to help not only obtain generational wealth, but maintain
All right. I guess one thing I can start off when you talk about generational wealth from that aspect, I think one of the most important things is that people only look at wealth as exterior wealth. I think one of the biggest things is understanding your value as an individual. I think that's what usually stops a lot of people. They don't think they're worth anything until they have something. And I think once you can figure out who you are, and when Bernard speaks to faith, faith is very important for me as well. But if you know who you are, as far as in Christ or whoever you are as an individual, I think it's better for you to start there. It's understanding your value as a person, understanding that you are uniquely and wonderfully made. There is no other person like you. And I think if you can tell yourself that, like think about it from everyone in the world, you have DNA, right? You have fingerprints that only go to you. So that means you were created uniquely, that your hands only can touch, that you are uniquely, that your chromosomes is only you. It can only be spread so many different ways. But the thing is, I believe, is finding down the person who you are, and then taking that journey towards trying to figure out what it is that God has me to do in my life and in my season for me to move on, for me in my particular journey. And for me, it was just one of those starting, failing. And when I say fail, I always say instead of going through, grow through, is keep going, keep trying. You're going to start something, you're going to fail, you're going to mess up. Own up to it. If you mess up something, grow from it and keep it moving. So I really say that from a marginalized, and I work with a lot of people that I guess they would think they're marginalized, and I kind of flip that on its head. It's like, you're really not marginalized. You're uniquely and wonderfully made as an individual, and you have to realize that. And once you come to that place of like, because guess what? Nobody can take your self-worth. So like, even if you lose your generational world, I mean, honestly, when the Bible talks about like things that we have in this world is fleeting, I mean, for me, that is true. You can lose everything. But if you know who you are as a person, an individual, you can always start back over. And that's the one thing that I can say. You start from there is knowing who you are as a person, knowing that you're uniquely and wonderfully made. And then once that, I don't care where you go, where you start, how many times you start over. When you know who you are, that's like the true epitome of value of where you come from.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on that and you said something about 60 seconds.
Well, he didn't say 60 seconds.
Listen, I want to jump in on this because this is exactly what I was wanting to get at. Like, money, we do have some kids in here, man. So, I just keep it real, man. Money doesn't mean shit, man. I'm going to tell you what, everybody's out trying to get money. And money without a relationship and a foundation in Jesus Christ will lead you back down where you came from before you got the money. You've got to look at this thing like generational wealth. I had to Google the shit. I don't know what it means. I know it means money, right? I don't know what it means. So I Googled it on the way here while I was driving. I know you don't supposed to do that, but I did it. Financial assets that are passed down through families to children and grandchildren and beyond. So that's like some 4th, 5th generation shit. I'm not there. I'm trying to get there, but I'm not trying to get there for the money of it. And I love what you said about, man, you got to know who you are. You know, I'm 51 years old, okay? When I was 35, I was flat ass broke. I was living in a hovel, $700 a month, and I was renting the other half out for $400 a month. You know, that's the salesman in me. But I've walked these streets of Flint. I did dumb shit on these streets of Flint. I poured myself into all of the negative that I could find for some dumb reason. And I think what God was saying to me is, you want to walk this walk, go right ahead. I've been arrested. I drove by that jail here. I was like, dang, I was arrested in that thing when I was a young kid. All of these things that I searched for up until I was 35 were the things that got me nowhere. What I didn't understand was who I am and who I was to Jesus Christ. Once I learned that, he used a great word, an identity. Then I had an identity. And then I knew my identity didn't belong to material things. And this society is tough, man, because everything on this thing is material things. Everything is get it now. And it's get money, and it's get material things. And, you know, George said it really well. Money is good. I mean, Money is good when it's used for the right things. And money will give you beautiful choices, money will give you some opportunities, but no matter how much money you get, if you don't have this foundation that we're talking about in our faith anyway, and I would venture that most people in here are Christians, if you don't find that purpose inside of serving others instead of serving self, you know, what you can build up, you can ruin with your own two hands just as quick. And once I understood that it wasn't about me, that it was about others, you know, I talk about my grandparents, you know, they didn't build generational wealth. He was the chief of staff at McLaren Hospital. When he was gone, the wealth was gone. So I think about this generational wealth like, dang, am I even thinking about that? The influence and the impact that you can have on building relationships with people, and obviously through the, you know, the love of Jesus Christ, those are the things that will help you build. Like, how about build generational wisdom? How about build generational faith inside of your family that can carry on for a love of Jesus Christ? Like, those are the things that can really impact your family. And if you do all of those things, and you do, and here's another word I want you to think about, is the intent. The intent behind which you do things, you'll either be rewarded or you won't. And if the intent isn't good, you might get something quick, but it will not last. If the intent is good, it often feels like, man, it's taken longer to get there. But those things will last. That foundation in Jesus will last. And Sean and I were talking about this before, man. It's easy to get chasing stuff. We're all human. We all, no matter where we're at, no matter what I say, I'm going to go chase something some point next week, because that's just what we do. Every time we come back to center, every time I've come back to center, God blesses me. He says
And I definitely want to, just in the interest of being inclusive, if you have a different faith, just apply your deity there. Okay?
Thanks.
It's about the foundation, and passing it down for your family.